Teacher insults black student, principal reveals the truth. Before we dive in, kindly hit the subscribe button and let us know where you're watching from in the comments. In a quiet suburban high school, the kind of place where whispers carried louder than truth, 16-year-old Marcus Johnson sat in the back of his English classroom. He wasn't the loud one, nor the troublemaker. In fact, Marcus preferred silence. He lived in a world of books, equations, and dreams larger than the walls around him. But none of that mattered to his teacher, Ms. Whitmore. Ms. Whitmore had a reputation. She was sharp-tongued, dismissive, and to certain students, especially the black ones, she wielded her authority like a weapon. That day, she decided Marcus would be her target. It started small. She called on him to read a passage aloud. Marcus stood, his voice steady but soft. Before he could finish, she cut him off with a sharp laugh. "Goodness, Marcus, do you even know how to pronounce half these words? Maybe if you spent less time daydreaming and more time studying, you wouldn't sound so ignorant." The classroom froze. A few students chuckled nervously, afraid of being her next victim. Marcus felt his chest tighten. He wanted to sit down, disappear into his chair. But her words didn't stop there. "You know, some people just aren't cut out for this kind of material. Maybe manual labor would suit you better, Marcus. That's a skill you people are good at." The class gasped. Marcus's face burned. He clenched his fists under the desk, fighting back tears. But he refused to give her the satisfaction of seeing him break. Ms. Whitmore smirked, confident she had put him in his place. But what she didn't know, what none of the students knew, was that Marcus wasn't the boy she thought he was. Because Marcus was a prodigy. While Ms. Whitmore saw only a quiet, black teenager she could belittle, Marcus's mind worked on a level that few could comprehend. At 14, he had already been invited to advanced math seminars at the local university. At 15, he had written algorithms that stunned graduate students. And just last month, he had been contacted by a prestigious research institute offering him a place in their mentorship program. But Marcus never flaunted his gifts. He wanted to be treated like everyone else. To him, respect wasn't about showing off, it was about being seen as human. That day, though, Ms. Whitmore pushed him past his breaking point. At lunch, Marcus sat alone, his tray untouched. His best friend, Jamal, slid into the seat across from him. "Man, I heard what she said," Jamal whispered. "You just gonna let her do you like that?" Marcus looked up, his eyes sharp but tired. "What do you want me to do? If I fight back, I'm the angry black kid. If I stay quiet, I'm weak. Either way, she wins." Jamal leaned closer. "Not this time. I think it's time people see the real you." Marcus shook his head. He hated attention. But Jamal's words lingered in his chest like a spark waiting to ignite. The next day, Ms. Whitmore doubled down. She gave Marcus back an essay he had written, marked with red ink slashed across every line. "This is sloppy work," she announced to the class. "Frankly, Marcus, I don't think you'll ever understand literature on this level." The essay. It wasn't just good. It was brilliant. So brilliant, in fact, that the principal himself had read it days earlier when Marcus submitted it for a statewide competition. And the results of that competition were about to change everything. That afternoon, the intercom crackled. "Marcus Johnson, please report to the principal's office." The class snickered. "What did you do this time, Marcus?" Ms. Whitmore smirked. Marcus walked out silently, his heart pounding. When he entered the office, Principal Harris stood waiting with a wide smile. On the desk lay a certificate embossed with a golden seal. "Marcus," the principal said, his voice brimming with pride, "congratulations. You've won first place in the state essay competition. Not only that, but the Board of Education wants you to present it at the Governor's Education Summit next week." Marcus's jaw dropped. He had kept his entry a secret, not wanting the attention. But now the truth was out. And Principal Harris wasn't done. "Oh, and one more thing. I think your teacher deserves to hear this news directly. Shall we?" Moments later, Marcus walked back into the classroom, but this time, he wasn't alone. Behind him, Principal Harris carried the certificate. "Excuse me, Ms. Whitmore," Harris said firmly, interrupting her lesson. "I think the class should hear about Marcus's achievement. This young man has just been recognized as one of the brightest minds in the state." The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Marcus. Ms. Whitmore's face drained of color. Harris continued, his voice deliberate. "In fact, his essay was so exceptional, it's being used as an example of excellence statewide. Quite the opposite of what you told him yesterday, wouldn't you say?" The students erupted in whispers. The same essay Ms. Whitmore had torn apart, the one she called sloppy, was now being celebrated at the highest levels. Marcus stood taller than ever before, his eyes locked on hers. He didn't have to say a word. The look on her face was enough. Justice, for once, felt within reach. But just as Marcus thought the tables had finally turned, the principal's expression shifted. His smile dimmed, replaced by something heavier. "Marcus," Harris said quietly, "there's something else I need to discuss with you. It's about your future here at this school. Some very powerful people aren't happy about your recognition. And I need you to be prepared." The class buzzed with confusion. Ms. Whitmore clutched her desk, her smirk long gone. Marcus's heart pounded as Harris motioned for him to step outside again. What could he mean? Who wouldn't be happy about his success? And just like that, the celebration twisted into a chilling suspense. Because Marcus was about to learn that not everyone wanted to see a black prodigy rise, and the real battle had only begun. The hallway outside the classroom felt colder than usual. Marcus followed Principal Harris, his steps slow, his mind racing. Just moments ago, the entire class had seen Ms. Whitmore's authority crumble. For the first time, Marcus had been seen for who he truly was. Yet Harris's sudden warning, that not everyone was happy about his success, hung in the air like a storm cloud. Inside the principal's office, the door shut with a heavy thud. Harris gestured for Marcus to sit, but his tone was different now, measured, almost weary. "Marcus," he began, "what you accomplished is extraordinary. But with recognition comes resistance. Some people don't want to see students like you at the forefront. They'll do everything they can to tear you down." Marcus frowned. "Who's they?" Harris leaned forward. "School board members, donors, even certain faculty. People who believe excellence should look a certain way, and it doesn't look like you." The words sank like stones in Marcus's chest. He knew racism wasn't new, but hearing it spoken so plainly shook him. "But why would they care about me? I'm just a kid." "That's exactly why," Harris replied. "You're proof that their system, their assumptions, are wrong. And people in power don't like being proven wrong." Marcus's fists tightened. "So what happens now?" The principal sighed. "They're already talking about invalidating your award. Claiming you plagiarized. That a student your age, and your background, couldn't have written something so profound." Marcus felt the ground tilt beneath him. After everything, the late nights, the hours of research, the quiet sacrifices, now they were going to steal his victory. Tears stung his eyes, but he blinked them back. "That essay was mine. Every single word. How can they just take it away?" Harris's voice hardened. "Because they underestimate you. But that's where they've made their mistake. Marcus, you're not just fighting for yourself anymore. You're fighting for every student they've ever dismissed." Marcus swallowed hard. His silence wasn't protection anymore, it was a weapon waiting to be sharpened. The next morning, whispers filled the school. Rumors spread like wildfire. Marcus cheated. Marcus got special treatment. Marcus doesn't deserve it. And leading the charge was Ms. Whitmore. In the teacher's lounge, she fanned the flames. I knew something was off. His essay was far too polished. Someone must have helped him. Probably the principal himself. By lunch, students stared at Marcus in the cafeteria as if he were a fraud. His tray sat untouched again, but this time Jamal wasn't quiet. Bruh, you gonna let them drag your name through the dirt? You know you wrote that essay. Show them. Marcus hesitated. Show them how. Jamal grinned, his voice low but fierce. Do what you do best. Prove them wrong. Not with words, show them your mind. That evening, Marcus sat at his desk, the glow of his laptop illuminating his determined face. He pulled up drafts, notes, and versions of his essay, proof of his process. Then he went further. He began working on something new, something undeniable. A project so advanced it would silence every doubt. For hours, he coded, analyzed, and wrote. His fingers flew across the keyboard, fueled by the fire of injustice. He wasn't just defending himself, he was preparing to strike back. Days later, the school board convened a special meeting. Parents, teachers, and students packed the auditorium. The issue? Marcus Johnson's award. At the front sat the board members, faces stern, eyes skeptical. Ms. Whitmore stood smugly to the side, waiting to watch Marcus fall. Principal Harris placed a supportive hand on Marcus's shoulder. This is your moment, he whispered. Stand tall. When Marcus took the stage, whispers rippled through the crowd. One board member cleared his throat. Marcus, there are concerns regarding your essay. Many find it improbable that a student of your age could produce such work unaided. Do you have anything to say? Marcus gripped the podium, his heart pounding. For a second, he thought of staying quiet, of letting the injustice swallow him. But then he remembered every insult, every laugh, every time someone like Ms. Whitmore told him he couldn't. He raised his head. His voice was steady, but it carried a power that silenced the room. Yes. I do. He clicked his laptop open and connected it to the projector. The screen lit up with lines of code, drafts, diagrams, his process, step by step. This is how I wrote my essay. Every draft, every edit, every note. You can see the progression of my thoughts, the research I compiled, the algorithms I used to structure my arguments. This is me. Gasps filled the room. Then Marcus switched slides. What appeared next was not the essay, but something new, something bigger. I didn't stop there, Marcus continued. After my essay, I developed this program. It analyzes literature across eras, comparing themes and language patterns. It's already being tested by graduate students. And I built it, by myself. The crowd erupted in murmurs of disbelief and awe. Principal Harris smiled proudly. Jamal, seated near the back, pumped his fist in the air. But the board members looked uneasy. One leaned toward another, whispering urgently. Ms. Whitmore's face twisted with anger. Finally, the chairman spoke. Impressive, Marcus. But brilliance doesn't excuse insubordination. There are concerns about your attitude toward authority. The words struck like a knife. Even after proving himself, they twisted the narrative. It wasn't about his work anymore, it was about control. Marcus stared at them, his jaw tight. For years, he thought staying quiet would keep him safe. But now he realized silence only gave them more power. He leaned into the microphone. His voice cut through the tension like steel. Respect isn't obedience. Respect is earned. And you all have done nothing to earn mine. The crowd gasped. Some clapped. Others shifted uncomfortably. The board chairman's face darkened. Young man, watch yourself. We could make things very difficult for you. Marcus didn't flinch. You already have. And I'm still here. The room erupted. Students cheered. Parents murmured. Even teachers exchanged glances. The balance of power had shifted, if only for a moment. But just as Marcus began to feel the weight lift, a security guard hurried into the auditorium, whispering something into the chairman's ear. The chairman's eyes widened, then narrowed. He banged his gavel. "This meeting is adjourned immediately." Confusion rippled through the crowd. Marcus looked at Harris, who looked equally unsettled. And then, as the board members rushed out, the guard's words echoed faintly enough for Marcus to catch. "They've sent investigators. From higher up. They want Marcus removed." Marcus's blood ran cold. Removed? From school? From the program? From everything? The celebration, the small taste of justice, it was all about to unravel into something much darker. Because Marcus wasn't just fighting Ms. Whitmore anymore. He was about to face forces far more powerful. Forces that would stop at nothing to silence him. The auditorium was still buzzing when the school board members rushed out, leaving Marcus and the rest of the students in stunned silence. Parents whispered. Teachers exchanged uneasy glances. And in the center of it all, Marcus stood tall, his heart pounding in his chest. He had just proven himself beyond question. He had shown the world his brilliance, revealed his process, and silenced the whispers of plagiarism. But even as the applause lingered, the principal's face told him the truth. This fight wasn't over. Principal Harris leaned toward him, voice low. "Marcus, the guard wasn't exaggerating. The board called in state investigators. They're not here to celebrate you, they're here to discredit you." Marcus's stomach twisted. "Why? What do they want from me?" Harris's eyes were heavy with the weight of years of experience. Control. They don't want a student, especially a black student, proving them wrong. If they can break you, they can scare every other kid into silence. Marcus clenched his fists. He'd been silent his whole life. But not anymore. The next day, 2 men in sharp suits arrived at the school. They carried briefcases and wore expressions colder than ice. Their names were Mr. Dalton and Mr. Briggs, representatives from the state's Education Oversight Committee. The entire school felt their presence. Teachers grew tense. Students whispered in the hallways. Ms. Whitmore practically glowed with satisfaction, convinced this was the end of Marcus's defiance. In the principal's office, Dalton adjusted his glasses, fixing Marcus with a piercing stare. "Mr. Johnson, we've been asked to review your case. There are significant concerns about the authenticity of your work, and your recent outburst at the board meeting only adds to those concerns." Marcus sat straight in his chair, refusing to shrink. "I didn't outburst. I told the truth." Dalton's lips curled. "The truth? Or your version of it?" Briggs leaned forward. "Here's the problem, Marcus. You're exceptional, too exceptional. That essay, that program, it's simply unbelievable for a boy your age. And when something's unbelievable, people start asking questions." Marcus met his gaze without flinching. "So instead of celebrating my work, you're punishing me for it?" Dalton's voice was sharp. "We're protecting the integrity of the system. If we let one case slip through, the whole structure crumbles." There it was. The mask was off. They didn't want the system to change. They wanted it to stay exactly the same. Word spread fast. By afternoon, students crowded outside the office windows, pressing their ears against the glass. Marcus's case wasn't just his anymore, it had become a symbol. Inside, Harris tried to intervene. "Gentlemen, Marcus has provided drafts, notes, and evidence of his work. What more do you need?" Dalton waved him off. "Principal Harris, this goes beyond you. If Marcus wants to prove himself, he'll need to do so under conditions we can control." Marcus narrowed his eyes. "What do you mean?" Briggs leaned back in his chair. A test. Right here, right now. You'll write, code, and present under our supervision. No outside help, no excuses. The room went still. Even Harris looked shocked. Marcus knew what they were doing. They wanted him to crack under pressure. To stumble so they could say, "See? We were right." But instead of fear, a fire lit inside him. "Fine," Marcus said, his voice calm but deadly. "Give me your test." They set him up in the library, under bright fluorescent lights. The entire student body was buzzing outside, straining for a glimpse. Ms. Whitmore hovered nearby, waiting for him to fail. Dalton slid a prompt across the table. Write an analysis of Shakespeare's Hamlet, focusing on the theme of power and corruption. 30 minutes. Marcus took a deep breath. He thought of every late-night reading, every annotated page, every discussion with himself when no one else listened. Then he began to write. His pen moved with purpose. His words flowed like rivers, weaving text and insight so seamlessly even Dalton's mask of skepticism began to slip. 30 minutes later, he set the paper down. Dalton skimmed it, his brows furrowed deeper with every line. Briggs leaned over his shoulder, and for the first time, doubt flickered in their eyes. But they weren't finished. Now, Briggs said coldly, "Demonstrate your so-called program. Build something, right here, in 1 hour." The challenge was impossible for most. But not for Marcus. His fingers danced across the keyboard, pulling from memory, from instinct, from hours of discipline. He built an algorithm that scanned literature, identified recurring motifs, and generated a real-time report. When he presented it, even the harsh fluorescent lights couldn't dim the brilliance glowing from the screen. Gasps rippled through the crowd outside the library doors. Students pressed their faces to the glass, watching Marcus prove himself in real time. Dalton's face was pale now, his confidence slipping. Briggs muttered, It's flawless." Marcus leaned back, his voice steady. "Are you satisfied?" But before they could respond, the library doors burst open. A group of board members stormed in, led by none other than Ms. Whitmore. "This is a farce," she shouted. "He's rehearsed all of this. He's manipulating you. You can't trust him." The board chairman raised a hand. "Enough, Ms. Whitmore. We've seen the boy's work." But Dalton, sensing his authority crumble, slammed his briefcase shut. "This isn't over. Marcus Johnson may have passed your little test, but the state has higher standards. We'll be taking this matter further, much further." The crowd booed, students shouting in defense of Marcus. Jamal yelled the loudest, "You can't stop him. He's the future." Marcus stood, his voice carrying above the noise. "You keep moving the goalpost because you don't want me to win. But I'm not playing your game anymore. From now on, I set the rules." The library shook with cheers. For the first time, Marcus wasn't just defending himself, he was leading. But even in victory, the tension thickened. Dalton's final words echoed like a threat. "This isn't over, Marcus. You think you've won, but you have no idea how deep this goes. You're not just up against us, you're up against the entire system. And the system always wins." Dalton's cold eyes locked onto Marcus one last time before he stormed out, dragging Briggs behind him. Marcus's triumph felt real, but temporary. Because Dalton was right about one thing, the system was bigger than a single test. And as Harris placed a firm hand on Marcus's shoulder, whispering, "Be ready for what comes next," the lights in the library flickered ominously. The fight was far from over. Marcus had won the battle. But the war was only just beginning. The school had never felt so alive, or so divided. Marcus's triumph in the library became the talk of the entire town. Students cheered him in the hallways. Parents whispered about him in grocery store aisles. And teachers who once overlooked him now looked at him with quiet respect, or thinly veiled resentment. But behind the applause, Marcus could feel the storm brewing. Dalton's warning echoed in his mind, "You're not just up against us, you're up against the entire system." And the system was about to make its move. The following week, Marcus was summoned to a formal state hearing. Not at school. Not even in town. But at the state capitol itself. A towering building where the walls reeked of polished marble and old power. Principal Harris insisted on coming with him, standing as his advocate. Jamal, ever loyal, begged to tag along too. Marcus didn't want his best friend caught in the crossfire, but Jamal only laughed. "Bruh, you think I'm letting you walk in there alone? No way." When they arrived, the atmosphere was suffocating. A long panel of officials sat at the front of a grand chamber, their suits dark, their eyes sharper than knives. Cameras lined the walls. Reporters whispered into microphones. This wasn't just a hearing, it was a spectacle. Ms. Whitmore sat smugly near the front row, waiting for the hammer to fall. Dalton and Briggs stood just behind the officials, arms crossed, already looking victorious. The chairman of the committee banged his gavel. "We are here to determine the credibility of Marcus Johnson's academic achievements and his eligibility to continue representing this state in national competitions." Marcus's chest tightened. This was bigger than him now. If he lost, every lie they told about him would become truth. Every other kid who dreamed of rising above expectations would be told, "Don't bother. Look what happened to Marcus." But if he won, if he stood his ground here, it could change everything. The questioning began. "Marcus," one official said, "your essay has been praised as university-level work. Are you telling us you did this entirely on your own?" "Yes," Marcus replied firmly. Dalton leaned forward. "Impossible. Students at your age struggle with basic analysis, and you're claiming to have created original algorithms. This committee cannot accept such claims without proof." Marcus didn't flinch. "I've already given proof. Drafts, notes, a live demonstration. What more do you need? My skin isn't proof enough for you." Gasps rippled through the chamber. Dalton stiffened, but the words hung heavy. Another official sneered. "Careful, young man. This isn't about race, it's about integrity." Harris spoke up then, his voice like thunder. "No, let's not dance around it. It is about race. I've watched this boy outwork, outthink, and outshine every challenge placed in front of him, and every single time, the goalpost gets moved. You don't question ability, you question identity. If Marcus looked different, you'd call him a genius. But because he doesn't, you call him a liar." The room buzzed. For a moment, Marcus felt the tide shift. But Dalton smirked. "Fine. If he's so brilliant, let's put him to the ultimate test. Right here, right now. Something no one can deny." The chairman nodded slowly. "Agreed. Marcus Johnson, you will be given 1 hour to solve a challenge designed by this committee. If you succeed, your achievements will stand. If you fail..." Dalton's smirk widened. "If he fails, every accolade is stripped, and his record permanently marked." The weight of the room pressed down on Marcus. This was it. The final showdown. They handed him the challenge, a complex problem combining advanced mathematics, computer coding, and literary analysis, a puzzle designed to be impossible. Marcus stared at it. For a moment, doubt crept in. He could hear the whispers of failure, the laughter of Ms. Whitmore, the cold certainty in Dalton's voice. But then he remembered his mother's words, spoken late at night when she thought he wasn't listening. "Marcus, your gift isn't just in your mind. It's in your heart. You see what others can't because you refuse to give up when others would." He sat up straighter, took a deep breath, and began. Minutes turned into an hour. His hands flew across the keyboard, his pen scrawled notes and diagrams. Every time the problem tried to twist him into a corner, he found another way out. He didn't just solve the challenge, He dismantled it, rebuilt it, and presented a solution cleaner than anyone expected. When he stepped back from the podium, silence filled the chamber. The chairman adjusted his glasses, staring at the screen. This is extraordinary." Dalton's face paled. Briggs muttered something under his breath. Ms. Whitmore looked like the ground had been pulled from beneath her. The students watching from the gallery erupted in applause. Parents rose to their feet. Reporters scrambled to capture the moment. Marcus stood, his voice steady, his gaze sweeping the room. "I don't need your approval to know who I am. But today proves what I've always known. You can try to bury talent. You can try to silence truth. But brilliance doesn't ask for permission to exist, it shines, no matter how much darkness surrounds it." The chamber thundered with applause. Harris clapped, tears in his eyes. Jamal shouted, "That's my boy," so loud half the room laughed. For once, justice felt real. But just as the gavel was about to fall in Marcus's favor, a door slammed open at the back of the chamber. A new figure stepped in, dressed in a crisp black suit, carrying a leather folder marked with the seal of the Department of National Security. The applause died instantly. The man's voice was low, commanding. "Marcus Johnson's case is no longer under state jurisdiction. Effective immediately, he is to be placed under federal review. His work has drawn attention at the highest levels. This is bigger than an essay competition." The room gasped. Harris stood, furious. "Federal review? What is this nonsense?" The agent ignored him, his eyes locked on Marcus. "Young man, your talents have caught the attention of people far beyond this room. Whether you realize it or not, your life is about to change. Permanently." Marcus's heart pounded. He had won the battle, but now, an entirely new war was opening before him. Was this recognition, or something far more dangerous? The gavel struck, echoing like thunder.